Streaming.
Yeah.
Get those bites all beaming.
Well, you know it worked. Okay.
Get our fans all screaming.
Well,
mintCast.
because I'm still on Arch. I'm embarrassed to say it, but not really. Because once you do the work of getting everything set up, because they curate nothing for you.
I know.
And you do that work, and now it's set up oh so nice, and you don't want to let go of it.
Yeah, it's like on PineTab. The thing comes with a Arch distro with a kernel made by a guy who calls himself Dankt, D-A-N-C-T, and so it's called the Danknex kernel. And you don't want to shift from it. And then some guy actually went through the trouble to incorporate the Danknex kernel into Debian. And he's got versions for Bookworm and Trixie. And I'm thinking about trying Trixie. I've been using the Bookworm for a while. Has one catch. They still don't have a good Wi-Fi driver. They have a Wi-Fi driver, but you literally have to turn it on after you boot and turn it off before you boot down. If you don't turn it off before you boot down, your boot down is going to take like 15 minutes.
Well, you could do a script then that executes at logout that
Right.
shuts it down, you know. Or you could even make a system D what do they call it? I forget what they call it. I don't know how to make one. I've never done it before, but
System deboot.
well, no, there's a unit. You can make
Okay.
a unit
I
that you can activate and deactivate at.
and you might need to go back over that now that System D256 is out.
Yeah. But if you have to
And
do
we're not
something,
supposed to use sudo anymore.
well, I'm sorry, but I'm not convinced because sudo has been around so long. Nobody's gonna flip over to something.
Well, he says there's a minuscule attack profile in sudo
Yeah, that nobody's really taken advantage of.
that nobody's taking advantage of, but if you can plug the hole before someone finds it, you know?
Yeah, fix what we got before you go screwing around with other stuff.
Anyhow, by the way, I use Bodhi.
Is that what you're on right now?
Oh yeah, I'm on Bodhi 7. I'm thinking about cleaning it up and putting debodhi on it. But that's still in beta, but it's a very, very stable beta. I don't see why he doesn't just change the name, but I'm sure he's got one or two things he wants to fix before he makes it stable. They really haven't done much work yet on Bodhi 8, which will be 2404. I know that Stefan has been doing his work on the themes, and Hippie Taff has been doing his work on the other stuff. But as far as the actual distro itself, all of that is only compiled by Robert Wiley.
Well, this laptop's not turning on.
You got to talk sweet to it. Give it flowers or something.
Oh, yeah,
Take it out
baby
to dinner.
girl. Do you like it when I touch you right here like this? Does it turn
Talk
you
dirty.
I haven't used it in a week and a half. Maybe it's just dead. I just put it.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Okay. Well,
I tell you, I'm still being blown away by that new battery I bought for my T580. I don't have to charge it more than once a week, no matter how much I use it.
Putting a battery in this thing, as you can see, it's got no lids to pull anything
right.
in and out.
No removable battery. Oh. Well, that's the thing with the T580. If you're going to do any add-ons, you have to take the back off. Well, before you take the back off, you have to go into BIOS and disable the internal battery. That's on the 570, the 580, and the 590. I don't know if it went beyond that. But you have to go into BIOS and disable the internal battery before you can open it up and do things. Hey, Joe.
Can't hear you.
Welcome.
Hey, Joe, what do you know?
Not much. Long time no talk.
Yeah, you know.
Where are you going with that gun in your hand?
Texas.
Speaking of Texas, you missed it, but I was saying that one of my guitar heroes, Kinky Friedman, died on Wednesday. He was a native of Texas. Had a boys camp, a kids camp that he ran. His father actually started it before him. He ran for governor of Texas once and came in fourth out of a 6-man field.
Cool.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we've got
So
somebody
Kinky Friedman and his Texas Jew Boys was his band.
we've got somebody in the comments.
Yeah.
Hello. Is there anything else than sudo? I mean, you can change the command name and then turn on it by new name. Yeah, and in fact, if they come out with something and distributions start replacing sudo altogether, there's nothing stopping you from aliasing whatever the command is.
That could be true.
You know?
Let me go. I need to go look that up.
Businesses already offer other types of ways to change your permissions. Like, just as an example, PB Run.
Yeah, you've got a lot of stuff if you want to do it by as root in KDE KDE Plasma. You've got it. What is it? UDEV run or something like that to open a graphical application as root.
The register headline: version 256 of System D boasts 42% less Unix philosophy.
Well, it's not Unix though, is it? It's Linux. That's
Same thing for GNU. GNU's not Unix.
yeah. So, I mean, I don't know where I come down honestly in that argument. You know, well, it's against the Unix philosophy. Yeah, but this is I understand that, and I understand why that's important to people, but this isn't Unix. This is Linux.
Well, the article from the Register says Mr. Pottering regards this hocus pocus as a bad thing. Quote, in my ideal world, we'd have an OS entirely without SUID. Let's throw out the concept of SUID on the dump of Unix's bad ideas.
I listened to the explanation as to why UUID was a mistake, and about 60% of it made sense to me. But that's the problem, you know, when you're fixing a problem that is only going to make sense to a less than measurable number of people, then it needs to not be such a user-facing thing, you know, like sudo that's been around since it's been around as long as I've been using Linux. So I'm absolutely sure if it replaces sudo, which I'm not convinced it will, but if it does, the distributions are just going to create either an alias or some sort of layer of abstraction to.
I'm seeing here version 256 also brings systemd-pcr lock, which is important for OpenSUSE's plans for FDE using systemd boot.
OpenSUSE, what's that? Is that a?
It's one of those other operating systems.
Is that an internet? I'm sorry. That was the first distribution I ever installed was SUSE.
That was the second distribution I installed. When my machine would no longer run Mandrake and the version that they came out with, I did run OpenSUSE. It was just SUSE back then. There wasn't a split.
Yeah. I posted a picture of the temperature in my garage in the general on Discord.
Someone says, sorry to ask, I'm still new to Linux, but what is systemd and how can I use it? And the first answer from that Czech dude says, if you don't know about systemd, you're for sure using it already.
That's accurate. Unless you're running MX, you're using like systemd. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple of other ones, but if you're just getting started, and you're using any of the stock operating systems, Ubuntu, Mint, anything like that, you're using systemd.
And the next response was, depending on who you ask, it's either the greatest thing that happened to Linux and does uplift Linux from an 80s Unix clone to a modern operating system, or the worst catastrophe ever happened to Linux because it adds untangleable mess to Linux and tries to control everything like a kraken.
Both accurate.
You don't use it directly. If your distro uses it, most do. It controls how your system is configured and does certain things. Is it good or bad? Honestly, I don't know. Both fans and haters are very vocal in their opinion and have arguments that sound reasonable, but I don't have the knowledge to say if they really are.
If you write your own scripts and you don't want to use cron, then you want to turn it into something for systemd. So,
You guys having trouble hearing me?
Nope.
no.
Londoner saying.
Okay, sudo is going to be replaced with run 0.
Check your OBS. Maybe your levels are off.
Audio check. It is down. But besides doing this, audio check.
Well,
That's
OBS,
a lot louder.
OBS gives you the
it's cranked up 100%.
Okay.
So
then turn us down until we match.
Well, we are matching now. We weren't matching before.
Okay.
I was down in the green. You guys were touching between 15 and 12, which
staying in the red.
Run 0 itself is actually a symlink. It says here,
Moss
Run
is
0
getting to be a pro on systemd.
No, I'm not. Run 0 is I'm trying to help other people that can remember things become pros on systemd. Run 0 is a new tool that is a symbolic link used to fire up an existing tool called systemd-run. With this, you can expect similar behavior to sudo, but with the key difference of it not being an SUID binary.
All right, now in English.
That's all I got.
Oh, okay.
How Run 0 works is that it sends a query to the service manager to execute a command under the user's UID. It then allocates a new PTY for that and transfers the data both ways from the initial TTY to the newly created PTY.
You need to stop right now.
One could say Run 0 is closer to behavior of SSH than to sudo in many ways, except that it doesn't bother with encryption or cryptographic authentication, key management and stuff, but instead relies on the kernel's local identification mechanisms. That was a quote from Leonard Pottering.
Yikes.
So there, that's all you got to know.
That's one of those things that I'm going to leave up to the distributions, including Arch, to work that out for me. Because if that becomes a normal thing, then it'll be up to the distributions to figure out a way to make it usable for us humans.
And we also need to look forward to having distros that use systemd boot instead of grub.
I'm using that right now, actually, and it's absolutely fine especially for systems with only one operating system on it. The only time
I am waiting for them to finish writing Cosmic in Rust before I try.
I am too. I wanna see what that's like. I'm interested.
They should have it by the end of the year, at least in beta.
I'm just worried it's going to be disappointing. It's just going to look and act like GNOME. And because, I mean, what do they got to go on? It'll look like GNOME with some add-ons, with some plugins, you know. And
I wish they'd have gone with their original idea, which was to rewrite it in EFL.
Yeah. There was a lot.
You can never have too much enlightenment, you know. Which is why I'm on Bodhi.
Enlightenment is a surprising people. If anybody watching this, if you haven't tried it, it's worth trying out at least because it's it's surprising how feature rich it is, but yet still low in terms of resource consumption.
Yeah.
You could compare it to something like XFCE or um, Mate or something like that, but comparatively, I think it's got just as much configurability as, well, maybe even
Well,
comparable to like KDE Plasma or something like that.
well, right now, Mate, XFCE, and Plasma are all about the same amount of heavy, which is not very compared to GNOME.
That's
But
surprising too. The Plasma is down there like that because it's just. I think it's been tough for people to grasp that that's true. Really,
yeah, it used to be the heaviest, and they
yeah, it
managed to
was.
just do some things to lighten it up. But Moksha on Bodhi, I know people that don't use a lot of graphical stuff, but they've got it down to 100 megabytes of memory. I usually come in around 320, 340 megabytes. Mate is around 800, 900. XFCE is 800, 900. Last I saw, I could get KDE down to about 795 as light as I could get it.
You got it less than XFCE then. That's crazy.
Yep.
The lowest one I've ever well, besides stuff like Ice Window Manager or DWM. DWM is by far the lightest interface I've ever used. By far. I mean, you're talking less than 100. Sometimes down below 80 to get a completely graphical environment. It's not the easiest thing to use, but man, oh man, if you need lightweight and instantly responsive, there it is. But
Technically speaking, Enlightenment is a window manager.
yeah,
Just as you can do everything in it and prettier than a desktop environment. Who
Yeah.
cares? Yeah, they when they came out with it, they call it the original eye candy window manager.
and I think Moksha is beautiful too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's tough to categorize it as minimal. You can't really. It's except to say that it uses a minimal amount of resources.
Got a minimal footprint and
Yeah.
maximal use.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, I have to replenish my liquor supply. I drank all my White Claw. That didn't take much.
I've been
Just
trying
downloading
this.
Body to test.
I've been trying this lager from Nashville, and I'm not sure whether I like it or not, but at least it's not too hoppy.
I had a lager last weekend at an Italian place that we like here in town. They make their own, and I had gas for 3 days after drinking that. I liked it. It was good, but it really.
Was it the lager or the Italian food?
I mean, it's difficult to say. Usually, because they make their pasta right there. Oh God, just places called Salvatore's, and it's if you went back in their kitchen, you'd see the pasta hanging from the racks and all that. It's beautiful, but
Crazy. Oh,
Sounds like a mob restaurant.
you get that kind of feeling when you're there. And there's like 6 of these places in Fort Wayne. This family, I worry that they've overextended themselves. But each one of the restaurants, no matter where they're at in town, it just packs full every night. And
they have a dead man hanging in the fridge behind, the room behind.
you got a
Speaking
guy
of
sitting in the corner.
overextension, speaking of overextension, Walgreens says that a quarter of their stores are losing money, and they're probably going to be closing up to 1,000 stores.
They've already closed about a quarter of the stores that we had around Fort Wayne. But to be fair, Walgreens would open a store like you got these
2
main
blocks.
arteries that come into town, and that's where all of the the commercialized built up is at. Well, they'll build a CVS and a Walgreens across the street from each other for some reason. I don't know what that's about, but they do.
Yeah.
And then a mile and a half
2
up the
blocks
same
later.
road, they'll build another Walgreens up there. So it's they're cannibalizing their own business. I'm not sure what they were thinking when they did all that, but now because the buildings are so distinctive in their design, when it closes, that was a Walgreens.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a bad image on a business, in my opinion, when you've got so many vacant buildings, and sometimes places will move in and try to, set up, but these buildings, no matter what they put in them, you'll always know that was a Walgreens.
Well, I have an
Speaking of
important
trash
question
like
for you guys.
that, Joe, go ahead.
What topic do we want on the next show?
Walgreens.
Taco
Bell.
Hey, there you go.
Mint
Crappy
22
their
got
menu
3
stuff?
images.
Cracker Barrel has been losing so much money that they hired Taco Bell's CEO to turn it around. Now, Taco Bell, under this CEO, has turned all of their stores into basically a Starbucks with Taco Bell logo on it. The chairs are uncomfortable. You can't sit in them for more than 10 minutes if you're really a glutton for punishment. It's turned into a drive-through only restaurant for me, because most of them you can't go in and sit down because the chairs are so uncomfortable. But yeah, she did change their menu quite a bit, and she got rid of the dollar menu stuff. They now have a budget menu, but yeah, the burrito that used to be $1 is now $3.29, but or $2.89 or something like that. But they actually do make it bigger, so it's okay. Blah 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 blah. But I can't see how anything that she did to Taco Bell would fit into a Cracker Barrel. You're going to modernize a Cracker Barrel. The whole idea of Cracker Barrel is it's old time. It looks like an old general store with a restaurant tacked on.
Yeah, and the reason that they're probably doing so poorly is people don't have a lot of surplus cash now because all these other companies have raised prices so extravagantly and no one can afford.
Cracker Barrel's prices also went up, and I think that's why they're losing money.
No one has the extra money to spend at Cracker Barrel.
It's basically a nice place to go eat breakfast, but if your breakfast costs $40 for 2 people, that's ridiculous.
And I'm going to say, I haven't been to Cracker Barrel a lot over the last few years, but I think we went there once last year. And you compare that to like the last time we went like 5 or 6 years before that. The quality of the food has gone down.
Yeah, next to last time we went to Cracker Barrel, we actually got cold food.
Yeah. Now, I understand that when I go to Cracker Barrel, I'm courting coronary heart disease. But I'm expecting that. You know?
That's why you go to Waffle House.
Right. You walk into a greasy spoon for greasy food. Good food at Cracker Barrel.
Poor Respawn probably doesn't know what we're talking about.
He's got Google.
The quality just was not there last time I went.
Yeah.
It wasn't worth it for me to go back.
Well, that's the thing with Waffle House. The menu is limited, but you have it memorized by now.
We got no Waffle House in Fort Wayne.
No Waffle House
None,
in Fort Wayne.
But you go 40 miles south of Fort Wayne, and then you've got one every 10 feet.
Yeah.
All the way until you get to the ocean, basically.
Well, it's like when they shipped all those immigrants to Atlanta. They're in the middle during the last big flood that hit Atlanta. They relocated people to Atlanta from the flood areas around North Carolina and Florida, and they said, "Okay, here's the thing. All you need to know is if you're hungry, go to Waffle House. If you need to know where a Waffle House is, walk outside, turn your head to the right, there's a Waffle House. Turn your head to the left, there's a Waffle House. Take your pick."
They used to
In
have,
Atlanta, that's a true statement.
yeah.
Just
well,
go outside, look left and right, and you'll see a Waffle House.
But
Yeah,
you
yep.
you honestly do, especially if you get down south, and then every highway exit has on one side of the highway or the other there'll be a Waffle House. Now, when I was younger, you had the Waffle House, but then you had Cracker Barrel, and then across the street from Cracker Barrel you had Shoney's. Oh, look!
It's a Josh.
Wow.
What's up, guys?
Welcome.
It's
Good
happening.
morning, Mr. Thacker.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, still
Hi.
breathing.
Good.
Old.
Not drunk yet.
Oh,
Still going.
working on it.
Well,
Um,
I've got you beat on the old Joe, but you probably feel it worse with some of your injuries.
Right. Oh, my spine. Plus, I don't know if you saw the temperature. It's like 100 degrees and 60%
Uh-huh.
humidity.
Yeah, Alexa told us this morning that the high today would be 91, but it would feel like 98.
Oh,
So yeah, we definitely got some humidity going around here.
So, yeah. Any ideas for, next show? We've got a whole of a week to plan for it.
Well, we haven't followed back up with Ken. We could plug him in if we can get hold of him. He is back from his trip in Alaska.
Let you coordinate that. We'll try for that, but do we want a backup topic?
Well, I would think that we would want him on this show right now if we were going to try for that. So maybe come up with a new topic for this time, and we
Josh,
get on Ken about next time.
you got an idea for our show topic?
I have no idea, man. I've been on vacation for 2 weeks, so I'm totally out of the loop. I haven't been listening to the podcast or anything.
You go somewhere or just take a staycation?
I wish I could have went somewhere, but those California fuel prices aren't very friendly right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, ours are down. Most stations around $2.89 a gallon right now.
Oh my goodness. Haven't seen that in like 6 years.
Yeah, I always like to say things like that to people in California.
I don't even look at it. I just buy it.
And
We're
we
just
don't have any
getting under
MTBE in ours, Josh.
Oh,
In
yeah.
fact, we can even buy 100% gasoline at some stations.
Really?
You
Yeah.
think.
Well, it's no ethanol gasoline.
You'd swear
Yeah.
you're buying children's tears.
Well, it is more expensive.
Gasoline
but
includes the children's tears.
Yeah, it definitely includes mine.
angel
Right.
tears, yeah.
Yeah, no, we're finally getting under $5
No, in
a gallon out here.
California, they're adding unicorn tears to their gasoline.
Something very expensive.
So I
Yeah,
am.
that's why our people running from California.
Yes, I'll be one of them. Hopefully, at some point.
a popular
Where you gonna go?
a popular sort of shtick on
Well,
TikTok
everything's
right
fine
now.
in Tennessee except the politics.
A popular shtick on TikTok right now is California transplants coming to other states, particularly southern states like Tennessee, and talking
Texas.
about
Oh my
things
God.
like biscuits and gravy. And I saw
I
a
love
thing.
me some Waffle House biscuits
Yeah.
and gravy.
Uh,
Heart attack on a plate, baby.
Yeah, I mean,
and last year,
who wants to?
I
live
got
forever?
diagnosed with celiac
Serving heart
disease.
attacks on the plate every day.
Celiac disease.
Yeah, so I can't
No
have anything with
gluten for you.
gluten. Yeah. So that means no bread, no beer, no biscuits, no nothing.
Nonsense. Look.
It's-
No. Look. I'm sorry.
They've got to make a gluten-free beer somewhere.
They do, and it's horrible. I've tried it. It's not the same. Just like
Well,
the bread,
I
it's
have-
awful.
I have
I
had
bet they make
various
a
beers
gluten-free
made out of
whiskey.
corn. I have had various beers made out of corn instead of wheat, and some of them are awful, but some of them are pretty good.
Yes, there are some that are decent, but something about taking the gluten out, it ruins it. Now, however, to Joe's point, whiskey, the distilling process actually removes the gluten, so you can still drink any whiskey you
Great.
like.
Problem solved.
There you
In fact, this is the first he's been sober in 2 weeks.
go.
You just
Yeah.
think he's sober. He's really good at pretending.
That's right.
Oh, I've known a lot of people like that. They had no sober personality.
You've been to Iowa. You've met plenty.
I've been to Ireland,
Yeah, that was good too.
Ooh.
Yeah, the old joke: an Irishman walks out of a bar. Hey, it could happen.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
that's
could
my
happen.
heritage.
Mine too.
I'm sorry, Joe.
If you're white in America, you are no doubt Irish.
Well,
at
I
some
thought I
point.
was Irish. I turned out to only be Scots. Only a quarter of that.
Close enough.
Yep.
Yeah, you go to the north of Scotland, you need a translator.
Look, there was so much interbreeding between the Scots and the Irish for a long time there. That a lot of the families that are
Well, the main
Scottish,
difference between Scots and Irish is that the Scots did some interbreeding with the Picts. Otherwise, they're the same blood.
Yeah.
How much Viking is in them is, Irish, Scots. Who cares? There's so much Viking. I get most of my English blood is actually Franco-Norman.
well,
Yeah, there's
my
a lot of English
family-
mixed in there.
my family is Scottish and Irish. On the one side,
Scots
on the
Irish.
other side, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Actually, no. Scots-Irish is a particular group of people in the upper Midlands of England, and those are the troublemakers that got sent over here.
Oh, the Caledonians from the upper
No,
Midlands.
they called them Scotch-Irish,
Hmm.
and they were basically the Midlanders, the ones that were stealing all the English cattle on the border.
All I know is mine were poor. They were farmers. We can't track them because there was no one of note, bad or good.
Well,
You
if
know
look
that
at-
the mountains of Scotland are part of the same chain as the Appalachians.
That makes sense.
Stretches all the way
Continental-
across the ocean.
Not only that, it also includes the Atlas Mountains in northern Africa. And the Rock of Gibraltar is part of Appalachia.
That's a huge mountain range.
That
Yeah, but
is a
you
huge
can-
mountain range.
You can find the branches of my family if you do a search for Ireland and my last name, or Scottish and my last name. And
At least your family branches.
Yeah, I'm in Tennessee. There are a lot of trees that have no branches.
Pretty sure
keeps
mine's
going
looking
up.
a little slim.
Right.
Couple weeds.
Your family tree is a straight line.
Uncle, Daddy, Grandpa.
That's
It's
right.
a dowel.
Hey, we come from
Your
West
family tree is
Virginia,
a
baby.
dowel.
It's amazing how many aristocratic people,
Fine, hand me the cat.
like rich aristocratic people, are such inbreds to the point
Yeah.
where like the end of the Habsburgs was basically because they had inbreeded the ability to reproduce right out of their gene pool. And
Well, the
literally,
English royal family are Germans, the
Yeah.
Saxe-Coburgs.
Saxe
They renamed it House of.
Saxe
they
Coburg
re-
Gotha. Yeah.
Yeah, they renamed it House of Windsor so that they could go to war against Germany, since Germany was attacking them anyhow.
Well, a
I think
lot
it's
of
the
that
first
was
time I've heard of that.
a lot of that had to do with stuff that was going on back home during the war, where because you had a lot of German immigrants set up in England, opening up shops and things like that, and they had German names, and they were getting vandalized, and of course, everybody knew that a lot of the German nobility, not just the royal family, were German, and a lot of that is because Germany had historically been not just one royal family, but set up as many, many, many principalities all over the region. I think there was a king of Hanover right up until World War II, in fact. So and then Queen Victoria married her children off to every single one of these royal families because they had like 9 children or something like that, and that's why all of the royal families to this day are descendants of Queen Victoria, including the Spanish. You don't hear about them anymore because they're mostly just figureheads, but the Spanish royal family.
Thank you, Respawn. Respawn actually posted to public. They ain't making Jews like Jesus anymore.
What would Jesus say about all this? I am just drunk enough to talk about that.
WWJS. What would Jesus do?
I believe he'd talk a little shit with me.
Well,
I think he's.
You know-
I think he was more like me than than he was a lot of the people that think they're more like him. Boy, would they be disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kinky said he was just like Jesus. He put together a band of people to run around the country and offend people.
Oh, I think I picked the wrong day.
I think
Yeah.
I picked the wrong day to stop smoking.
right.
Oh, you came
Remember,
in
hitting
at,
people with tables and chairs was a completely plausible thing with Jesus around.
Josh, you came in after I mentioned that Kinky Friedman died on Wednesday.
Thank you, Friedman.
From the band Kinky Friedman and his Texas Jew Boys.
You know.
Oh, jeez. My middle name is Houston.
Londoner's got some ideas for topics, backup ideas.
Oh, we have ideas for topics
Yeah.
from somebody.
How to read log
Londoner
files.
loves us. What can I say?
Yeah, but I don't know about these. How to read log
What?
files and system reports. Well, that's not me. Setting up a NAS and networking. Alrighty then.
And variations.
So
I
many.
had a NAS box once. I traded it for a System 76, two System 76 laptops.
Well,
And did the Mint beta drop yet?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The beta has dropped, yes.
The interesting thing about the NAS thing is Majid just bought a Synology last week. So
Yeah.
have any of you guys set up a Synology before? I have not. And
Like I said, when I had a NAS box, I traded it away.
yeah, I wanted that thing too, but I just couldn't. It would just sit down here with the other two that I've got sitting under my desk.
Doing nothing.
Josh, you look lit.
Yo, man, that's so lit. You must be on Fleek. Are you on Fleek?
I don't know what Fleek is.
I don't either, but I hear the cool kids saying it, so
Can't hear you, buddy.
he's not on Fleek.
Yeah.
Forgot I muted. Yeah, I'm on the Linux Mint forums. So, yeah, you know how this is a retina burner.
Wow, you might want to turn that down. That's your monitor doing that?
Yeah, it hurts. They really need a dark mode on that website.
I would say that Linux Mint Beta is a topic of discussion that we should cover on this. Joe?
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, this is mintCast.
Yeah, do you think there's going to be enough in there? I mean, you got the new Cinnamon release, of course.
You got
I don't know. Pipewire, that's true. Yeah.
Yep.
So I guess they have an official release statement saying all the changes, and then we can go through that.
That's what I was looking for.
Where's that at?
Linux
Well, we'll
Mint's
have to
blog.
take that out of the news and put it in the innards, because Londoner's going to want that first story in the news.
Is anybody running the beta?
Not yet. I guess I should go download it.
Unfortunately, I've got this Arch installation just the way I like it, and it's running so good.
Oh, are you running Arch?
Yeah, I might have mentioned it once or twice at some point, but
As your main daily time, right?
On this machine right here, yes.
Right. Yeah.
Because I wanted. There was a few things I wanted. He said, "Okay, Londoner said the betas are not official yet." What the heck's that mean?
They're not? I thought they were. Let me go look. What the hell?
I know they
That's the Spirit Moss.
had like 3 images approved for beta.
Oh, okay. Well, I would not make it a show topic yet then. Yeah, because the last blog entry was May. Well, where are these coming from then? I'm going to have to scroll back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't find where they're getting the download from. Of course, all the mirrors probably aren't populated.
Well, Londoner has his own private mirror, doesn't he, or something? Because he's got connectivity issues. Oh, okay.
There's one here on a Netherlands mirror to download.
Beta test, Fastly repositories.
So, oh, Joe's gone. I'm going to have, probably not today, but I am going to have Open Office up and running quite soon. And I got it up and running on a Linode, or not a Linode, a DigitalOcean, and he posted a link for you there, Josh. Oh, no.
Fastly.linuxmint.io.
Okay. This is the one I saw that someone linked from the Netherlands said it was up.
Which is that?
This is the 22 beta, and this is for Cinnamon, Mate, and XFCE.
What's the link?
It's in the general.
Can you put that in the
okay.
public so
You got it.
that other people can get at it?
Well, according to the Mint blog, their repo for the betas is at fastly.linuxmint.io.
Okay.
They basically, well, here, let me post this to general. They're looking. This is back when they were looking for beta testers. They gave out that. I put it in, and it tells you how to set up your thing to update to the betas.
I see a lot of packages on here. I'm not seeing a full ISO.
Well, they basically have a on the blog I just posted. They tell you how to update your system to.
Okay.
I'm not
I don't
messing
think
with
I'm doing
this.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
That sounds
I
like
guess.
breaking.
Yeah.
I guess it's premature.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't talk about that.
Yeah, don't worry.
Now, what do we talk about?
Well, I like the NAS idea. But is everybody going to
Sounds nasty to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Moss.
Moss.
I'll be here all week. Tip your waitress.
Okay, so I'm pulling down that beta from the link that I put up right now. I'll see if that works.
Okay, so setting up a NAS, uses for a NAS,
Okay.
configuration.
Yeah.
Heck, I still don't have a home server.
How about a SAN?
I made a DAS.
Sounds like we've got a volunteer, folks.
I have a Popo.
Just throw out a bunch
Josh.
of random acronyms.
Gosh, you know,
Josh
you're gonna be here
volunteered,
for
yeah.
this.
Oh my goodness, guys. You don't want that disaster.
I do.
You've got to get back on
I
the
do.
show,
Sitting
son.
here drooling in the corner. I couldn't. I don't run anything server related. I have no idea how to do that
I don't either.
stuff.
It runs in spite of me.
Come on now, Bill. You're being modest. You're
I don't
basically
know.
hosting mintCast, right?
I set this stuff up 2 years ago, and I worry it is kind of a thing on my mind because it was so long ago and it's ran so well for so long that I'd really have to get into it to remember how some of this stuff is set up. Because I mean, there's automation in place to update everything, including the SSL certificates and everything. So
I do that every time I reinstall one of my operating systems. That some little thing will change. Like I was just trying to create symbolic links in my Ubuntu, the new one, and I couldn't figure it out. The key bindings are different. It wouldn't work like it does in Mint. Yeah, so I had to do it all through the terminal. Yeah, but you just forget if you haven't done it for a while.
GT.
Well, I'm still not really getting much use out of my PineTab 2, which I am sad about. On the positive side, I noticed that Swift 110 has stated that he's in the market for a used PineTab 2, so if I get tired of not doing anything with it, I have someone I can pass it to.
There you go.
I'm the third owner already on this. I'm sure that the guy I got it from was not the first owner, and he just put the Danknex unit arch on it. And when I got it, I had the arch on and it wasn't messing up or anything, but I went ahead and put the Debian.
I think Arch has been slipping on their ARM stuff lately.
Well, I know Endeavor does not have an ARM version anymore. They just don't have the team to support it.
Well, they've still got a website, the Arch Linux ARM project, but I don't know. There's just, I don't know, not that much movement. That being said, I'm looking at a list of supported boards, and looks pretty impressive to me. And it includes the Raspberry Pis, but not the Pi 5.
Oh, Explaining Computers had a video on the latest RISC-V board he's got, which is like almost 4 times the size of a Pi, but it's an octo-core RISC-V.
They were talking about a laptop that runs RISC-V on late night Linux.
Yep, Framework is using this board already.
Well, there's a cheap one out there that's like, they said it was 340 quid or something like that for one of these things, and it's not real powerful. In fact, they said it was like half the power of a Pi 4, but I don't know. I'm not trying to get my ARM
It's
boards
sort
to
of
do.
futures. Not on the one hand, it's where the processors are going. And on the other hand,
hope
ARM
not.
is also raising their prices and trying to get more people to pay them.
I worry about general computing moving to one of these platforms just because it feels like if that were to happen, we would move towards an era where computers themselves are about as locked down as the phones are. And basically, you would be relying on vulnerabilities in order to install.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Oh.
sure that's the direction ARM is thinking about going in.
Yeah.
Which is why they're going to RISC-V, because it's totally open source.
What good does
This
it
is
do
why
to make your
every
processor open source
Thank you,
if
dear.
all your other stuff on the board is going to be closed, you know? I don't know.
I don't know.
hope that's not the
RISC-OS is
case,
open source.
because you know we are still in kind of the research phase of all of this. You know, if they had a way to make lots of money off of it, they would. Because if all this AI nonsense has taught us anything, it's that you have technology that has to be made useful before it's brought to the marketplace, and then you have technology that all it needs is a name, and then you can bring it to the marketplace whether it's even a quarter of the way usable or not. And that's what we're
No, you release it and then you make it useful.
sure, yeah, and that's what
Somehow.
we're doing
Right.
with AI.
That's right. It's a
All
solution
all I
in search
can
of a problem.
all I can say is if it works for Christopher Barnett, it's good enough for me.
Need to have him on the show.
That would be a great one.
Yeah.
But I bet we can't make
It's-
him laugh.
It's kind of the same model that a lot of your computer games are going to. You release the game, whether or not it works, and if it doesn't work, eventually you have a working game, and then eventually you have a good game. Sadly, everybody's already paid for it twice by then.
Well, that's the way to make money on it.
Yeah, I got a Mint 22 running on a Ventoy stick on the old ThinkPad. Can't really see it, but so that link does work.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Gotta love Ventoy.
Oh man,
Oh, it's the only way I do it anymore.
yeah. Forget all those virtual machines. This is much easier.
You're all very welcome.
Did you make
you, Moss.
Ventoy?
No, but we were talking about it through me on mintCast a year before it was on Jupiter.
Well, I had tried it a couple of times after you had mentioned it,
After I had mentioned it. That was
After
the
you had
point.
mentioned, I admit, it was
You're
you
welcome.
that brought it to my attention. But the couple of times I had first tried it, it just plain did not work for me.
Mm.
I'm
Yeah,
just-
Then I came back years later, and
one of the old versions, I had maybe 60 to 80% of my distros working on it. All the distros moved to it properly, but would not install from it.
yeah, I kept
But they have
getting
improved that
random
quite a bit.
errors, if I remember correctly.
and now it's the best way to install Windows because it skips right over the TPM check. It skips. You can
Does it?
Yeah, oh yeah, by
Wow.
default even. And if you want to install Windows 11 without a user account, you just unplug the Ethernet cord and disable your Wi-Fi if that's a thing, and just install it without an internet connection, and it won't make you set up a Microsoft account.
Well, I will say I did not find out about Ventoy by myself. It was all my Indian friends that kept telling me, use Ventoy, use Ventoy. Why should I use Ventoy? Oh, it's perfect. It runs everything.
It's pronounced engine.
No. I did not get it from an Amerindian. I got it from an Indian. You know, the people who talk funny.
Oh, this is not so good, my friend. I should stop right
Guys
now.
are terrible.
Oh
I
man.
should stop
Damn.
right now because this will get out of hand.
Yes.
You and your Apu
They're
accent.
funny when they start like wobbling their head when they talk.
Oh.
Yeah, we got to be careful. We might wind up with Madhur coming in. He's usually here. Where's Madhur?
It's a dangerous thing for somebody like me because on another show that I'm on, you get away with it because that's the type of humor that you're dealing with and the type of people. Very different audience on a tech
over
podcast.
here you're working with people that like tech and tech support,
right?
And wrong community to pick on.
And it's and of course I'm not picking on anybody.
Oh, I get that,
but you have to.
They might not.
You have to understand that, and a white person.
I just want to get hired by a tech support company and do my initial call in my bad Indian accent. And then when they say, we're tired, we're fed up with you, let me talk to your supervisor, I can just take this call as a supervisor in my regular voice.
Oh, I forgot to mention that. I applied for an IT job for Do It Best Hardware, which is a big chain of hardware stores.
Yeah, I've seen a few.
And I don't have a LinkedIn. I don't even have a resume. And they were like, well, how do we know that you even know how to do the job? I said, well, go to mintcast.org, 3ftpodcast.org, distrohoppersdigest.org, and there's like 3 others. I built, with the exception of mintcast, I built all these websites, and they were not convinced.
Huh.
So
that's bad for them.
I guess I'll just keep trucking. I don't know
just get a LinkedIn. Don't tell them anything. Just get a LinkedIn. Don't let them take your data.
I think I might have one I set up like 10 years ago or something like that, but I wouldn't know because I'm still getting emails from LinkedIn because my ex-wife uses it a lot, and every time she does something, I get an email, and that's not irritating at all.
I'm still getting emails from insurance companies that they want new, vibrant young men to join their.
Well, there you go, Moss.
I'm getting calls for Medicare and Medicaid.
Oh well, that's not going to stop until you die, and then somebody's going to keep getting phone calls.
Well, even when you're on Medicare, they are always bombarding you with stuff because so much of Medicare has been farmed out to third parties. Like I'm on Humana Gold for mine, but the third party still can compete with each other, try and get you to join their plan instead of the.
So Moss, did you watch
Yeah.
the debate the other day?
I watched about 15
Let's
to
talk
20
about
minutes of it.
that.
I could not keep watching. That was the worst I've seen Joe
It was
Biden.
a bit of a train wreck in the beginning, yeah.
But here's the thing, like I saw a couple of good metaphors on Mastodon this morning. One was sure, Sauron said he would ravish the Shire, but Gandalf is so old.
Right. Well, no, hold on. It's yes, Alfred's old, but that
Yeah.
doesn't mean I'm going to hire the Joker to do my
Yeah.
cleaning.
That was the other one. Sure, Alfred is too old to
that's where
manage
we're
the
at with that
Batcave,
now.
but that doesn't mean you're going to hire the Joker. Yeah.
That's where we're at with this now. Like, well,
Mhm.
all right, well, this sucks, but God, that would be. I'm not going to do that. That's.
But still, he gave a speech the next day, and he was back to being Joe Biden.
Well, yeah, he found his
That
crack
day,
pipe.
it happens. Probably worse
mean,
when you get older.
I don't care if he's on crack. He should do the crack
He
before the
probably
damn.
should have took some before he went on camera.
The good news is only 51 million people watched that debate. It was the lowest turnout for a presidential debate in the history of television
but
presidential debates.
everybody else saw it on TikTok and YouTube the next day. So
Right, everybody's.
Oh,
getting
I
the
saw a good
highlights.
one that they could just run Hunter Biden to replace him. Then they don't have to change the placards, and the Republicans would vote for him because he's a felon.
that's the thing
Fair.
I keep telling everybody. Like they are pushing so hard on this thing. Well, you don't want Trump because he's a felon. No, folks, you need to understand this is a class of people that are voting on him are voting for him because he's a felon. It makes them more endearing to him. You don't fucking understand what you're talking
Yeah.
about. These are the same people.
Well, the thing is that the worst things that happen to Trump, the more it's shrinking down to his echo chamber. We're hoping. We don't care who votes for him from the echo chamber. It's the normal Republicans that we're worried about. There used to be some of those.
Look, last time, 2020, nobody actually voted for Biden. Everybody voted not Trump, and it's going to be the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Nobody wants Biden as president. Everybody wants not Trump.
I'm sorry, Joe Biden has been one of the best presidents in history.
It doesn't
I
change
don't
what people want.
know how he has such a low approval rating because he's gotten more done than anybody in the last. Well, in my
Because of
lifetime,
the signal to noise ratio is why he's
the
not
the
been-
last person that did this much for the people was FDR, and I wasn't born then.
There's when you've done some good, right? But the noise that exists in the zeitgeist is such that it's hard for anybody to get the freaking point.
I mean, the Republicans have spent the last 4 years trying to find some dirty paintbrush to rub all over Joe Biden, and they haven't found it.
But not just Joe Biden, but just the concept of being Democrat or liberal or woke. These
Well,
words.
I actually sent off to Antifa for stickers to stick around places, see how long they stay up there. But yeah, they will send you free stickers at Antifa now.
Yeah. My son was just made the I'm not sure if I should say this on the air or not, but I'm going to do it anyway. He's the head
Grand
of
Wizard?
he's the head of the Indiana Communist Party now.
Woohoo!
And yeah. And I'm like, okay.
I like the concepts of communism. Unfortunately, it is not
They don't
held
work
up
in
as a
practice.
government. Once you get a communist government, all of a sudden you've got another totalitarian system, and that's not what communism is.
The problem with
Communism,
any of these
socialism.
systems is when you put humans into them. It's
Some strongman takes over.
yeah.
That's the democracy that we have has been so halting and so failing at what our promise is because we have to make compromises to keep the democracy alive. Not because we're going to turn it over to Trump and let him solve everything.
Meanwhile, Josh is setting up Mint 22.
Josh is all like, these guys are crazy.
Yeah, I just saw they have the Matrix client in there, their new one, or that web app that they were
What,
adding
built in?
Yeah, so it's just like if you created your own web app. It's in the menu though under Internet.
Whoa, does that mean they don't have Hex Chat and
No, sir. Hex Chat is absent.
yikes, that's
So
been on
it's
there
been
since
replaced. Yeah, forever.
yeah.
Yeah,
But that's not a thing anymore, is it? I think that's been
not really. I think it's pretty well deprecated in a sense. I mean, young kids aren't going to be using IRC anymore.
yeah, I don't think young kids are using Linux.
That's probably true as well. Well,
Mine
Android.
are.
Are they? Well, you forced them to. I got some truckers using it too, and that's because I forced them to.
That's how we did it over here as well.
Yeah.
No, we're not doing Windows.
I've got one or two people I put Windows on their machines because I just knew if I put something else on, then I'd be taking on the role of full-time remote IT support. And
Well, the whole thing is that with, the kids and stuff, yeah, for a while they needed Windows. But there came a certain point where my answer is, look, if you want me to do the maintenance on this, it needs to be an operating system that I actually know.
yeah,
And I don't really know Windows anymore.
let me see that.
Genuine Antifa stickers.
I'd like to have that white one.
As Death to Fascism in English,
Spanish.
Arabic, Spanish, and that's things like Hindi. Hebrew. Now they got Hebrew, Arabic, Spanish, and English on there. Death to Fascism. It's the same thing, just reverse color.
Right.
They changed the black to gold and the gold to white.
My pickup truck is.
These are free. I just send them an email. They actually posted on Mastodon and had an address to send to, and they had them out in the mail. They don't mind if you pay them for them too, but the first ones were free, and if you want more, then you can order them. I was talking about that logger. This is it. It's called Urban Hiker.
That's not
It's
nearly a
brute.
big enough can.
24 ounces or go home.
It didn't even cover his whole hand.
Well, this is an
40s
independent
or
craft
nothing.
brewer out of
Bigger than
Nashville,
these,
Tennessee Brew Works.
Look at this. I'm holding it with my fingertips.
It's probably the exact same size.
Yeah, well, yours is thinner, Bill.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking a little shit.
We shouldn't talk about that on air, guys.
Yeah, mine's bigger around.
It's okay.
That's why it's better.
This
It's going
10
someplace
ounce.
we don't want to go.
Everybody knows it's not length, it's width. It's girth.
It ain't
Once
the meat,
again,
it's the
my
motion.
wife says as long as it's attached to me and reaches her, it's.
Okay.
Easy,
All right.
easy.
Overboard
breathe,
here.
Well,
Is
it was a
is
nice one, guys. I'll see you later.
Is that her saying you need to lose a little bit of weight?
This
The
is
weight
on
has a lot to do with it, yeah.
This is only 4.2% ABV.
Oh,
So it's
get it
not-
out of here.
Huh.
Oh,
We
respawn.
lost respawn.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
Poor guy.
Well, we're already we are already scouting out which town in Mexico we want to move to when Trump gets elected.
I wouldn't worry about it.
Yet.
He's not
Right,
gonna...
right now our choice is San Miguel de Allende. It's about 40,000 people. It's up in the mountains, about 2 hours northwest of Mexico City, and there is a large expat retired community there. So,
I want to go to one of them places that pay you to live there.
good luck with that.
There's
Well,
one
I
in
don't
Italy,
know.
one in Greece, and West Virginia.
You can't go to West Virginia to
Isn't
get
there
away
one
from
in
Trump.
Ireland or something?
They bring the
West
Trump
Virginia-
to you in West Virginia.
West Virginia has been a half Democratic state, but then who they elected as a Democrat had just declared himself an independent.
Joe
Don't they pay
Manchin.
you to live in
Yeah.
Alaska
They might.
with
They should.
tax break or something?
I got to be somewhere where I can get fiber internet, though. That's another thing.
Yeah, Suzanne tried to get me to move to Portugal, and I said, no, if I'm going to Europe, I'm going to Moldova.
I don't know if
Portugal.
Yeah.
it's still true, but Estonia supposedly had the fastest internet connection.
Well, yeah, but Moldova's fast internet is only $25 a month.
Oh, everybody's cheaper than the United States. I was trying to get
And the
upgraded.
education is free, regardless of age and level.
Good.
Moldova,
I was
you
in
say.
school with people that were my age, and they grew up under communist Russia. They were telling me, shoot, in those days, if you wanted education for free, it was anybody that wanted to go to college that showed the aptitude for it could go for free.
Mhm.
Free health care and all that. And, I'm like, well, God, when you grew up in Cold War America, we were raised to believe that there was a literal iron curtain that people lived behind in a literal state of slavery and oppression. And once again, that turned out to be a bit of a distortion of the truth.
Oh, Moldova's capital, Chisinau, has been called the most boring capital in Europe. And that sounds just fine for an autistic like me.
I'll tell you what, that sounds good, actually. But,
Yeah,
I'm
ours
bored
has
with...
been a little bit too exciting.
So exciting, it's starting to bore the shit out of me, to be honest.
And also, the EU has already started the procedures to admit both Moldova and Ukraine.
I am so tired of hearing about freaking politics and politicians. It feels like that this election season has been going on for almost 2 years now.
Feels like this election has been going on for 12 years.
Announced his candidacy. It's been 2 years.
Don't worry, it'll be over soon. They'll all be dead. I mean...
World War III.
No, I mean, they're just old. They're going to be dead.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. If Biden dies, we know who we got for president. And I'm cool with that. Kamala Harris would be a good choice. But if Trump dies, we don't even know who his vice president is.
I'm not sure I know Kamala all that well, though. I wish
You haven't
I
heard
did.
much about her.
Not really, not because she's not politically trained in the go out and talk bullshit politics way. You know what I mean? Like some of these other people are.
But, think about it. When Obama was president, did you hear a whole lot about Biden?
No, that's because
You never hear much about the vice president. But Kamala actually has been a lot more active than most vice presidents. She's been going out and giving a lot of the big speeches when Biden just couldn't get around.
She's good. She is good, and she's shown that she's really good for the individual topics. She'll go and show up for this thing or that thing, and she's got a lot to say. Thank you, baby. I would be interested to see how she would handle like a campaign in general. Like I don't.
She did get elected to Senate from California, so.
Yeah. What do you got to do to be senator in California?
Well, generally speaking, senators from California are not half black, half Hindu.
Really?
Really. I mean, there's her and there's Pramila Jayapal, who's all Hindu, and that's about it. And Pramila is only in the House, not Senate.
Unfortunately, we have a completely impotent Congress these days.
Well, yeah, but it's been impotent for all of Biden's term, and he's still got stuff done. He hasn't gotten everything done.
What bothers me is that he has to do it, though. And I get irritated when everybody keeps bringing up the border thing. Well, the only reason he did it, well, he shouldn't have had to do it. That's the point. That was Congress's job to Make law. That is Congress's
And
job.
Congress
to
had
make
a
laws.
law ready to go. They were ready to pass it, and then Trump had to open his mouth and say, "No, I want to run on this campaign issue, so you can't do anything about it."
Well, the thing that bothers me is that you can't just pass a law these days. You have to get the support of other people in Congress. I get that. Okay, fine. But the way that works is they'll put shit in that law that ain't got nothing to do with that law just
Oh
to
yeah,
pacify somebody that wants, the support.
that's
in
the
return.
American way.
I mean, we've gotten too used to that, I think.
You should read some of Mark Twain's novels and see how Senate was when he was around, and God, it was worse.
Will Rogers said, just be thankful we don't get as much government as we pay for.
Hmm.
And you just don't have wisdom like that anymore. All right, well, I think we've beat it to death.
So your son is not only a card-carrying communist, but he's the head of the Indiana Communist Party?
Yeah, I'm not sure how. I asked him, I'm like, okay, you're 31. I'm just guessing there's older people than you. He's like, yeah, but nobody is as active, apparently, as he is. He shows up to...
Yeah.
Nobody is as communist as he is.
Yeah, nobody has as big of a hammer and sickle as he does.
Well, I have a number of times in my life I've been an IWW member. That's as close as I got.
Hang on.
And I kept trying to get them to say, "Hey, I am a rather well-known folk singer in the circles I run in. At least they should get me to their rallies to do some of the singing because Utah's dead. Leslie Fish hardly even leaves her house anymore. They don't have anybody to get out there and rouse the rabble with song."
All right, so
I've been
we're discussing Naz's on the next show.
Here's the shirt he sent me.
Okay.
CP USA?
Yep,
That's a
Communist
good way
Party
to get
USA.
punched in Texas.
Well, like I
punched
said,
in
when
Indiana,
it gets into government, they stop being communists and start just being another totalitarian. It really got me, the people, when Russia became Stalinist, and the Reds in America were saying, well, we have to support them because this is temporary. They will go back to being real communists any day now. And they just don't.
The level of misunderstanding that exists, and it's all because of the bad examples we've had of these things in history. It's unfortunate.
Well, you can read a lot of books and understand that communism and socialism, while a good idea on the surface, have some very major flaws when put into practice, which is why when they're put into practice, you end up with totalitarian regimes, and you still end up with the high class and a extremely low class with no middle class.
Well, the problem is the same thing as the Trumpers, that they want one person to tell them what to think.
Essentially.
You will have, unfortunately, you'll have a spectrum of individuals, and at one end you'll have the people that are waiting to be told what to do, and then at the other end you'll have the people that are looking for ways to get themselves into the positions to tell people what to do,
so they can profit from it.
Yeah, so that they can be the ones at an advantage. And
yes, right now our society is a cross between Life of Brian and Idiocracy.
Yeah.
Leaning more towards Idiocracy in the future.
Well, but Life of Brian, he goes, well, what do we do now? Think for yourself. What should we think?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So what do you do about that? I mean, I don't know where we go from here, but I'm sure ChatGPT will tell us what to do.
Well, you can't even go find a deserted island because with global warming, it's going to be gone in a few minutes.
There are going to be deserted islands. All right, guys, I think we could probably...
Snap time.
Yeah.
I've been podcasting now since like 12:30. I blame Bill. I blame Bill.
Yeah, he was on today's OTC, so you got
rest in power, Kinky.
yes, all that. All right, folks. Thanks for watching. All 2 or 3 of you. Wait, how many? Ooh, 3.
3.
Wow.
Slaying them today.
Well, we had Respawn in the room, too.
Yeah, so. All right. I'm out of here. We'll see you guys later.
All right,
Don't
guys,
be
take care.
communist.
Bye.